thanks so much for downloading The Ugly Truth today. We are talking weddings, the trends for 2019, why do we hate them so much, and of course our own experiences with weddings and planning, along with some epic, ugly and awkward moments of the week. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
I love cake. It's my favorite thing.
Paula?
Where does one procure wheat?
Uncensored as always, it's time for the Ugly Truth.
Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 357. Ugh. Whoa.
Ugh.
Wow, that was weird.
Who, mine or yours?
Mine.
Oh, okay.
This is a themed show. We are going to talk about the wedding season. Yay! Weddings.
Yay.
Love. Weddings, nuptials.
This would be a good time for me to announce that Victor and I are splitting up, actually. So
yes, just so you know.
We've decided,
for all inquiring minds.
We decided this about 6 months ago. We thought that I would have found a job by now and he would have moved out, but it's just hadn't
not
happened.
Going as quickly
so
as planned.
We are just proceeding with the announcement and going to move forward with our lives, and hopefully I'll find a job soon. But
and then you can find Paula at the local Target checking you out.
And if I don't get a job, then dun, 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 I'll be moving in with my sister.
Yes, so let's try real hard. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
I mean, listen, the plan's in place. And then, of course, Mackenzie announced yesterday. She was like, well, maybe I'll just move home. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
The Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch.
All right, on that note, let's celebrate the new with the season of the weddings, which is, I mean, I know of one person who's planning their wedding, and I believe their nuptials are in the fall. So they're in full-blown wedding mode. Well, she's 26, I think. So she's getting married at the right age, I think. If you're going to get married in your 20s, the late 20s is the way to go.
Yeah, that's a pretty okay age.
I agree. I mean, I got married at 26. It's working all right.
I think I was almost 27.
Yeah.
The second time.
Right. And who knows with the third time.
Oh, God.
So anyway.
Actually, it's funny. People, like guys, they kind of cringe when they find out you've been married more than once.
You know what? They can go fuck off.
I'm just saying, it's almost
There's just as many divorced men as women because it takes two.
It's almost like you're damaged goods or something. Like,
You know what I cringe at? I cringe at men who've never been married and they're 50. I want to know what's wrong with them. It's not a choice, generally
it's like
speaking.
A failure to commit or something.
It's a failure to launch, in my opinion. I don't know what that's all about. So you want to go ahead and judge? Go right ahead. Right. But the way I look at people who have been married and divorced several times is they believe in love, they believe in commitment, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Maybe they just have a taste problem.
Well, I think once they find out I was 19 the first time I got married, it doesn't count. It's kind of like, oh, well, that makes sense. You
were a child bride? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it is the season of wedding planning. And of course, all the weddings are going to start in May and mostly June, of course. I got married in August, but we only had like 3 months to plan because we wanted to get it over with as quickly as possible. And according to my, our mother, it's like, why would you wait a year? And I'm like, well, because I was going to get a wedding out of it and I wanted to. But I mean, we had children. It was like, why are we living the lie? Okay, I'm not a virgin bride. We're not, we're not going to do the big to do. So let's just do what we can. And we did it. I think my wedding was fine, don't you?
I loved your wedding. It was great.
It wasn't over the top. It wasn't one of those things where everybody wanted to gag. The only thing, and I've said this before, the only thing that I wish I could have changed was we were poor as church mice and we could not afford an open bar. We had to do a cash bar after a certain, we had wine and champagne for certain things, but we did not have the budget to have an open bar. And that I felt bad about.
Couldn't you have asked Daryl's dad as like a gift?
His dad actually sent us on our honeymoon.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So yeah, he more than pitched in.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, so weddings are here, and I wanted to tell you about some of the trends that are happening for 2019 because there are actual new trends. I think a lot of these have to do with social media. I think that's the way I look at it, is because everything's photographed and put out for the public viewing immediately. And so things have to look unique and different and creative. And I think that's where these kinds of trends come from.
So no more chalkboards and burlap sacks and
Pinterest is over when it comes to their homey farm look. Is the whole choose a side. It doesn't matter.
No more cowboy boots and
nope. We're past that, and now we're into a little very different. The new color trends are dark and edgy. So like dark navies, dark burgundies, dark, black and gold, and just really super dark, edgy emo colors.
Funny, I had navy and black at both of my weddings.
You were ahead of the times.
What do you know?
So instead of donut walls or flower walls, remember there would always be some big place where you could take your picture?
I never understood the donut wall. It sounded so unsanitary to me.
Do you know how many flies landed on those things? Because it was an outdoor wedding.
Do you know how many hands that were on those donuts to hang them on that filthy hook?
Well, listen, even if they were gloved, the donuts that were 3 feet and lower have been fingered by every small child that was at that event in their little suspenders. So
who eats donuts at a wedding? I mean,
it was a hip and trendy thing. That's why they existed, but they exist no longer.
Stupid.
Now it's balloon walls.
What are they going to throw darts at them?
No, it's a big wall covered in balloons. Covered in balloons of the color of your wedding, and that is the photographic place for whatever. So there's that.
Balloons are tacky.
I would agree with you, to be honest. But I don't know. I mean, I looked at it and I thought birthday party or circus, but they're trying to be different and unique. The next thing, along with the dark and edgy, velvet is the new color or the new fabric of choice for table settings and extras, curtains and whatever, is velvet.
Velvet makes me want to bite my tongue.
Velvet is really cool, but I don't see it being easy to work with when you're talking about tablescapes and, little added extras on things. Because to me, when you're dealing with a wedding that has like a lot of people and a lot of food and alcohol and things, velvet is not something that's easy to clean, nor does it look good once it's wet or dirty.
No.
There's a lot, and it can fray very easily. So I wouldn't do that. This one I would definitely not do. It's a twofold. Instead of flower bouquets or flower decorations for the wedding scene, people are using wheat and grass. Instead of bouquets, they're using like natural wheat and grass because it's standouty. It's different. It's dramatic. Or if you're not into the wheat and grass look, which I couldn't do because I'd immediately start sneezing, or I'd hit the wheat would hit my eyeball or something.
I would just take it out because I'd be like, I can't fucking see a thing.
Apparently, brides are choosing to forego the traditional bouquet and wear flower necklaces made out of flowers.
Necklaces?
Yeah, they have big flower necklaces instead of a bouquet. Like almost like a lei, but not, because it's closer.
Like choking you, necklace collar thing?
Yes.
How do you get it off?
Well, I would imagine that after a few hours, it's just going to die and fall off, is my thought.
And then you fling it in the air and everybody's supposed to catch it?
I don't really know. I'd be more concerned about bees or creatures landing on it during the ceremony. Because, most of these, this is all outdoorsy. This is not going down inside a church. This is all outdoor wedding-y stuff,
What happened to just a nice string of pearls? I mean, why not be classic?
Well, true.
And to be perfectly honest, this is only things white women do.
I absolutely agree with you.
I don't see any ethnic woman doing any of these things.
Are you kidding? We're only half Mexican. Can you imagine if we said, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with a grass bouquet and a balloon wall.
I'm going to put wheat in the, and I can see Mom going, oh.
No, she would not be that kind. No, she'd be like, Jamie Lynn, what? This is not the time to be creative and arty, okay? It is a serious occasion.
Where does one procure wheat? in July.
Do you suggest that we just go out to a field somewhere in the boondocks and just cut it off?
Are you going to grow your own, or what are we doing here?
She's like, I don't think I can make that from silk. I don't think they have silk flowers in wheat.
My God, Mom and her silk flowers.
I know. Okay, so this is another thing. It's time to revamp how we register for gifts, apparently.
Okay.
It's appropriate to ask for cash, and now you can ask for anything. Everything's up for grabs. If you're never going to use a KitchenAid mixer, don't ask for it. Instead, ask for the samurai sword lessons you've been eyeing for your honeymoon in Japan. Planning to adopt a family mascot? Set up a puppy fund. It's all about you and your life together.
That's weird.
If I got an invitation that said, in lieu of kitchenware, since we already live together, we are cohabitating as it is. We don't need any of those things, but we would love to take samurai lessons when we journey to Japan for our 10-day honeymoon. Please donate.
You know, we did get something like that one time. Like, they wanted people to contribute to their honeymoon fund.
I'm cool with that.
And
personally,
it's awkward though, because it shows, it's kind of like a GoFundMe kind of thing. Like, it shows what the goal is.
Yes. And where they are.
And where they are. And it's like, there's like a big gap. And so you're feeling like, well, my $50 isn't going to really make a difference, you know?
Yeah.
But if that's your only option, then you're like, okay.
How much would I spend on a gift? And I guess I'll just give them the cash. I'm cool with the cash, by the way. I think that's the best gift. That's the
thing is, I like the little mailbox on the table, and you just shove your card in there with the cash in it, or the gift card, or whatever.
I do like that option. I don't mind the digital option as long as it's not like I wish there wasn't a goal to be reached. I wish it was just donate to the honeymoon fund, and then you just donate, and there is no goal. It's just it is what it is, because it's not like they're not going to go on the honeymoon if they don't reach their $8,000 mark or anything. They're still going to go. It's just that you're helping to edge off the
reimbursement, I guess, or something.
Right.
I mean, I find that awkward.
It's new.
You're reimbursing us for something we were already going to do. It's just,
well, I understand what you're saying. I just know that any weddings that I attend, it's cash. I never buy the gravy boat. I never buy something that they're never going to use. I don't, decide like, how our grandmother got you a wall-sized wristwatch.
Yeah, that was different. That was different. I don't even know what happened to that.
Wouldn't you have rather had the $20?
Probably.
The watch?
Like, maybe I think I would like it if someone had like a down payment fund, like if they were trying to buy a house or something. Right. That'd be really cool. I would totally support something like that.
Me too. Yes.
But other things I struggle with.
Right.
I don't know.
Help pay off our student loans.
Yeah. Or,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes. And then finally, this is the new thing. Now, it used to be in the old days, it was you throw rice at the bride and groom as they leave. And then we started realizing that killed birds. And so people started throwing bird seed when they would leave, right? Okay. And then there was this time where we did silly string. And then when
that stuff is actually flammable.
That's awful. And then people started doing the sparklers. Everybody would hold a sparkler and the bride and groom would run out. Now it is smoke bombs.
What happened to bubbles?
Oh yeah, there were bubbles. I think that was the 90s. Smoke bombs now they set off different colored smoke bombs and they run through the colored smoke bombs as they leave.
That sounds awful.
It gives a photographic flair. That's what they said.
It sounds militant. I don't know.
It's like, bob and weave, serpentine, to the car.
Like he should be like carrying her like a football hold, running to the car, like he's just, rescued a hostage or something.
The photo I saw was of two men embracing with blue and green and yellow behind them as smoke bombs were going off. And so it was a really cool photo, but that is apparently the new trend for leaving I assume the reception to go off to your honeymoon is smoke bombs.
So I guess my question is, all these trends,
yes,
are they trends because they're photograph worthy?
Yes.
Or are they trends because they actually look nice at a wedding?
The one that I did not mention because it wasn't worth, I mean, we can't really complain about it, so I didn't really want to talk about it. But the new trend this year is due to the royal wedding that happened, is everybody's trying to mimic Meghan Markle's wedding. So they're trying to do the English royal wedding. That is also very popular.
Why?
Well, because it's beautiful. It's lavish. It's elegant. It is very traditional. So it's either people are going super duper traditional or they're doing this really way out stuff that photographs well, is my guess. I mean,
is everyone wearing really ugly hats and...
Yes. And there's a lot of white peonies and flowers. And I mean, it is beautiful. It's very pure white looking.
I know, but it's so like timely, I mean,
well, yeah,
you're gonna look back and be like, oh, we did this because Prince Harry and Meghan Markle got married that year, and they're gonna be like, who? It's just like
that old couple that divorced themselves from the Buckingham Palace,
the ones that will never be king or queen and that are just there, with their one kid,
right? Because she's old. I don't know. I mean, to me, weddings, I kind of agree with our mom. Weddings is not a time to experiment. A lot of women try to experiment with their makeup and hair on that day. Bad idea. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go through with a wedding, I know that if something happened and I had to get remarried again, I would be eloping. I would go to an island and get married on a mountain in front of the sea.
I've told you, I'm getting married on a mountain.
Yes.
It's going to be, it will probably be like this. We're getting married. We're taking the kids. It's on this day at time. There will be chairs. If you want to go, fine.
Right.
If not, it's cool. And that will be it.
Yeah. Now, I am not against weddings in general. I will say, and we'll talk about this on another show, but I was watching The Browns and their princess of all princesses, Aspen, got married. Mm-hmm. And that girl got everything she wanted.
Of course she did. They don't deny their children anything.
They don't deny her anything. They gave her no crap. All the other ones that got married, they had to fight tooth and nail for their vision. This girl did not. She was given everything.
So what did she have that was like completely over the top stupid?
Well, it was an incredibly expensive venue is what she wanted. And she also made everybody wear hats.
What the heck is up with the hats?
And it was a Scottish themed wedding. So everybody wore kilts. So,
okay.
Yes. But anyway, she initially was like, I was going to elope. We were going to go on our honeymoon and elope on our honeymoon, like in Hawaii. That was her initial plan.
And I'm sure the dad would have been like, hallelujah.
Maybe.
Save myself $100,000.
My guess is this. I think that TLC was like, hey, we'll pay for some of this if you just do this. Mm-hmm. And so they did it. I'm almost positive that's why they did it. Because I'm telling you, that girl does not like her family. She can't wait for that to be over. Like Emma Kelty, never even on TV. Never.
Yeah, that's true. Her and her little Hispanic husband, Pedro or whatever his name is.
He's just getting bigger and bigger by the minute.
Yeah, they're a really odd couple.
It is an unusual couple. Anyway, so speaking of bridezillas, though, I've got to tell you about this story that I read. This is exactly why I wanted to do this episode, because of this one story.
Okay.
A bride-to-be has a lot of people talking about who she is and isn't inviting to her wedding. Not only does the woman want her guests to eat vegan on her wedding day, she wants them to give up animal products forever. Anyone who refused was promptly uninvited, including her mother. Cousins, who were also bridesmaids, were uninvited. This might have stayed a private matter, but the bride posted something in a face group called Vegan Revolution, asking for advice about her omnivore family guilt-tripping her into hosting murderers. As for reasoning, the bride, who is 20, says even though her loved ones were originally invited and agreed to a vegan menu, she couldn't go forward knowing they would go back to eating meat the next day. She also claims many in her family are anti-vegan and will attack her vegan friends. At least one of those family members responded saying they have been nothing but supportive and are hurt by the bride's decision.
Is she
20.
like insane?
She's 20. is exactly what she is. And what's even funnier, I went on further to investigate this situation. She was getting zero support. The vegans were like, what are you doing? You are being terrible to your own family who probably paid for this wedding. What are you doing? You uninvited your mother? How do you do that? Because she will eat a hamburger the next day? Because she'll be starving after eating your chickpea hummus?
Right.
I mean, come on.
She's probably not going to have anybody at the wedding.
Oh, man. I don't know, except for her vegan friends. And she's like, I don't understand why you guys aren't supporting me in this. It is very important to me that...
Yeah, in 5 years, she's going to be, pregnant and eating a steak.
Well, regardless of her convictions, I've never... It takes bridezilla to a next level. Next level. It's like... That's like saying, if you're not Catholic, you're not welcome. Because I just know, unless you convert, you can't come. That is so stupid.
See, this is the thing I don't understand about weddings. Like, why do people get so crazy about weddings?
It's insane.
What is it? And that's the thing is like, to me, it crosses a line between like, we're in love, we're getting married, we want our friends to come, everyone's going to dress up nice. Yes, we'll serve some food and we'll have some drinks, and
why can't it just be that?
Cake and stuff and just be simple. And then it crosses over to, we've got all these crazy traditions and, we've got like, we're going to do the first dance, but between the husband and wife, midway we're going to break and it's going to turn into Staying Alive, and we're going to start doing this routine with like glowing eyeball glasses, and we hope it ends up on YouTube. And
it is weird. It's like it goes from celebrating a union that should last forever to a show. I don't know what breaks inside those brides' minds. I don't know what happens where they're like, no, this is my day. I'm going to do whatever I want, and you will all do as I say. Like, when did it become third grade best friend? Like, when did that change? Because I'm not saying all weddings are like that, because they're not. But the ones that do become outrageous, like, what breaks in their brain that makes them do that stuff?
I mean, remember the video we saw of the woman? She was literally singing as she was walking down the aisle.
Yes. She had her own microphone, her own custom microphone, and her father all in.
Well, what was he going to do?
I know. And that's the problem with weddings, is they hold it hostage. It's like, what, you're not going to be at your own daughter's wedding?
And that's just the thing, is everyone's afraid to tell the bride no, or to tell her something or whatever.
Well, when they're that nuts.
And then I saw a video the other day. I didn't watch it because as soon as it started, I'm like, I'm not fucking watching this. But it showed the bride sitting in a chair, and then it showed the groom and all his groomsmen, and then they started doing like this, Backstreet Boys dance or something like that. And I'm like, when did weddings turn into talent shows? Like, when did that happen? Everybody has a skit or a routine or something.
I think it starts with when the bride and groom are feeling forced to learn how to dance. So they take dance lessons. That's been going on forever, where they go, we have to learn how to dance because we have our first dance and because we be in front of everybody, and we don't want to look dumb. And then
why do you feel forced to learn how to dance? Just put your arms around each other and spin in a circle.
Well, some people can't even do that. So they take the ball dancing lessons and all. Ball dancing, is that right?
Ballroom dancing. The ballroom. No, that happens later.
If you're lucky. Ballroom dancing, because men in general, especially back in the day, when would they ever do that? So it's like, they have to learn how to do it.
Well, I mean, they've been to proms or something, you would think.
You would think. Anyway, I think it started with that. And then suddenly the bride, it's the bride, goes, it would be fun if we did the dirty dancing segment at our wedding. Let's do dirty dancing.
Or
that's when it started.
You and your groomsmen did the scene from Footloose. Everyone would love that. And then we had a bunch of glitter drop from the ceiling.
Let's dance! Woohoo! Because in their mind, they're envisioning a celebration of all time, and everybody will be in on it. And the curvy girl will whip her body around and turn everyone on.
Because that has everything to do with marriage.
Exactly. I am all about a good party, though, but I don't think you need to have it. I'd hate over-rehearsed stuff. That's why when we got married, I told the photographer, I'm like, I don't want any posed photos. I really don't. I want them to all be casual. I want it to look natural. I don't want anything where we're all standing in a line, you know, that someone's going to look at in 100 years and go, oh, look at that unhappy family standing like they're at a funeral. I don't want that. I wanted it to be really casual, and he just couldn't and wouldn't do it. So we have very few photos of us at our wedding. Our wedding photos were very minimal because I just hated everything.
God, and you guys paid a ton of money for him too.
We did. But I mean, the ones we have are, of course, are beautiful.
No, they are beautiful.
I even said, I'm like, can you do some black and white? That'd be so great. He's like, oh, well, that's not really traditional for weddings. I'm like, oh, God, here we go.
Like,
and I'm like,
yeah, well, you know, I don't give a flying fuck. So
you know what, though? This is what I get for hiring family friends, you know?
Oh, of course. You were forced into that by mother.
I was. I should have been more of a bridezilla, honestly.
You didn't even have time to be a bridezilla.
I really didn't. And I, you know, like I said, I really don't have too many regrets. You know, it was fine.
I didn't even have time to have regrets. I got married off at El Camino.
Hey, that was a fun party, though.
No, we had a great
fun.
time. It was a great time.
So my point of saying that I was watching this wedding go down on television is the planning from picking out the dress, tasting the cakes and all that stuff. I was getting sick to my stomach. And I said, you know what? I do not. I mean, I know I have 2 daughters, and I know this is going to happen. Daryl did it with his daughter. He went and did tastings and all that stuff.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
They tasted the cake? I just asked the lady, I'm like, did they ever get complaints? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, get the vanilla cake with the raspberry sauce.
Sounds good.
And she's like, okay, I'll fax it off today. So, I didn't even taste it until we got married.
And it wasn't gluten-free, was it? Did you?
Well, I wasn't sick at the time, so.
Did you make everyone? It's like, this is a gluten-free wedding, and if you're not going to honor my request, don't even come.
You know what? We didn't even eat anything. That's very normal for a wedding. Yes. You don't even eat any of the food that you order.
You know what? I have to tell you, my biggest disappointment in my wedding is I never ate cake. I never ate my wedding cake.
The only cake we got were the bites that we fed each other.
That was it. And I couldn't remember to tell you. I couldn't even tell you what it was.
It was good.
That's my biggest disappointment. I mean, I love cake. It's my favorite thing.
I think we were supposed to get the topper, but I don't know what happened to it. So.
I think we got it. But it was carrot. It wasn't the real cake. It was the one that will freeze well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I would never crap on anyone's wedding, but there is where you can go a bit too far. And that's the shit we don't like.
No, I've been to a wedding before where I walk up and suddenly, you know, I see a giant chalkboard and I'm like, fuck. Well, it's going to be one of those. It was in the summertime and it was like already blazing hot. It was like, and the wedding was at like 11. And I'm like, God, you know, I need more coffee.
Is there a coffee station?
It took us an hour to get here. So that means I had to get up by 7:30 or 8. So I was presentable. Decent. Now my makeup's already melting off my face.
Because it's like July.
And I asked, I'm like, do you guys have any coffee? And they're like, no, actually, we don't have a coffee maker. And I'm like, of course you don't.
You don't have
and I'm like, okay.
Maker.
I'm like, well, do you have any water or anything like that? She's like, yeah, we have some water. And then so they had water and I'm like, oh, so when's the champagne coming out? She's like, oh, we only have it for the toast. And I'm like, God, is this wedding going to get any fucking worse? Jesus.
That's when you're like, you know, you could have saved yourself a whole $30 if you had just gone to City Hall. You know, water from the tap.
I'm just like, God. I'm like,
what kind of church doesn't have a coffee maker?
Well, it was in someone's backyard. And I'm just like, is this a dry wedding or what? And of course, you know, Victor's brother showed up. He was drinking coffee, but it was laced with Jack Daniels. And I'm like, hey, can I have a sip?
He's like, are you sure you want it? I can smell it from here. Yes. Give it.
He was still drunk from the night before. So
sounds like a fun time. I mean, you know, so maybe we are just really bad guests.
I think I'm a horrible guest. I had a sour puss look on my face the whole time.
Well, you had to get up at the crack of dawn.
I know. But you think I would, and you know, you look around and you see those people and they get that like happy love look on their face and they're holding hands and they're just like, oh, because they get like all reminiscent and everything. And I'm sitting there thinking like, it's hot out here. I'm just like, and I'm like miserable. And I'm like, my feet hurt. You know?
Honestly, Paula, I can't think of one wedding that even of our own family's weddings where we weren't complaining.
I know.
I remember when our sister Allison got married in the park and we were all wearing black dresses. And it was like
105 degrees.
It was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and we were wearing black dresses, and it was...
The preacher was drunk off his ass.
He was drunk.
He was sweating. We thought he was going to have a heart attack.
I thought he was going to pass out. I literally thought he was going to fall over. I'm like, he ain't getting through this thing. And I just remember thinking, I have never been more miserable in my whole life. This is literally the worst thing ever. And we're like, oh my God, did our father show up? It's like...
And then 10 minutes into the reception, the groom and all his friends disappeared, and then they were found in the parking lot getting high.
Yes. And of course, our mother, what is going on here? What kind of wedding is this?
And then their first dance, Allison, of course, was singing to him, which is just torture.
Stop it. Stop it. She was feeling the love, okay?
Oh God.
Yeah, that was a rough couple of hours.
Oh my
We got
God.
through it somehow. We got through it. Okay, so I have some Ugly and Awkward moments, wedding edition, and these I have several. So because I just couldn't stop reading them.
Okay.
I got hypothermia during the outdoor photography and missed the reception because I was in the hospital with my brand new wife who was still wearing her wedding dress.
Oh my God.
That's insane.
Where
How
the
cool
hell
was
were
it?
they? Yeah.
I don't know, but at some point you have to cut your loss and say, you know what, it's 30 below. We really shouldn't be photographed. Yes, the winter wedding, it's gorgeous, but we gotta go inside.
Or
someone's
take
gonna
breaks or something. Jeez.
Seriously. Okay, this one, I laughed so hard when I read this, Paula. My mom's best friend and maid of honor showed up the day of my mom's first wedding with her head shaved. Apparently, she was in love with the groom, and this was her silent protest.
What? Her mom's best friend did that?
Okay, hold on. Let me read this again. My mom's best friend and maid of honor showed up the day of my mom's first wedding with her head shaved. Oh my God, I'm crying. Apparently she was in love with the groom and this was her silent protest. The marriage only lasted 2 years and the groom eventually married her.
Hey!
I know! So it worked!
Not all was lost then.
The
Can
shaved
you
head worked out.
imagine?
Paula, if you showed up with your head shaved, I'd be like, what are you doing? What is this? Why?
I would be like,
I'm protesting!
Are you all right?
I'd be like, what are you doing?
Are you having an episode?
I'd be like, what are you doing? I couldn't hide my feelings, but I wanted to be here for you. Okay.
Wow.
I can't even imagine.
Like,
That's
here,
like wearing black.
Take these flowers and put them on your head. God.
That's like wearing black to a wedding when you're mourning the loss of your son, marrying some terrible woman.
That sounds like something I would do.
Names will not be mentioned, but I know of a wedding where the mother sobbed and wept outwardly loudly through the entire ceremony.
Oh my God.
Wasn't mine, but it was someone that I know very dearly.
Why did they do that?
They were so opposed, and they tried desperately for the wedding not to happen, and the groom refused to end it, and so they went through with it.
Moron.
Yes, and they were divorced 4 years later.
I don't even know if I could attend if I really truly believed that terribly, that this was such a huge mistake.
In fact, his parents are divorced and the dad was summoned to get him to call it off. And he wouldn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah. There was a lot of red flags though. So,
Jeez.
Okay, here's another. I have two more and then we'll be done.
Okay.
When I was about 10, I was at a pretty low-key wedding, maybe 35 people there. There was a kid who asked me to dance about 4 or 5 times, but he was a teenager and I was still in my awkward phase. I might add, I had a decent sense of character even at that age, and this kid skeeved me out. So I kept turning him down. My mom finally caught on and told me I should dance with him, and against my will, I finally did. Fast forward 4 years later, he made it to the front page of the local newspaper, having killed both his parents and buried them in a shallow grave, and tried to run to Canada with his girlfriend after using their credit card to buy her a ring. I danced with a murderer.
Oh my God.
You never know who goes to those weddings.
That
really
is
big ones.
crazy.
I would be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Usually weddings are like a good place to hook up with like someone, you know, a stranger or something, 'cause it's like a new crowd.
You know, all the single guys looking for the bridesmaids, the single bridesmaids who are feeling the love because they just watched their best friend get married.
Something, but
right.
Dang. I'd be like, thanks a lot, Mom. I would send Mom that article. I'd be like,
oh my God.
Recognize this gentleman, Mom?
I would never let her live it down. Never. I'd be like, oh, guess what I found out? So remember that guy you insisted that I be polite and dance with? Yeah, he's in prison. Killed his family.
Wow. God.
And knowing her, she'd be like, well, he didn't kill the girlfriend and he did try to get her a ring.
Oh, stop.
I'm just kidding. Okay, here's the last one. The groom lost an eye at a wedding I attended by a friend of mine. He went to open a bottle of champagne and popped it in the wrong direction.
So they have to go to the hospital and stuff?
One would think. But can you imagine? Your whole future's ahead of you, and now you have a one-eyed man.
Wow.
Right? I mean,
I lost an eye, but I gained a wife.
He lost an eye, and I gained a one-eyed man.
Wow. That's terrible. I was getting nervous at one of the weddings we went to where your, I guess, mother-in-law, she uses that sword to...
Oh, I know, the saber.
Take the cork off. And I'm just like, someone could really hurt themselves with those things.
I'm always... It's really amazing to see and watch, but I'm always nervous when someone pulls out a knife at a place where there's alcohol. Because
right.
you just
and it's not
never
like
know.
It's not like they did it right away either. I mean, everyone had a few cocktails by then.
It's not even the person that's sabering. It's after the fact. When they put it neatly and safely away, that some idiot, some second cousin of someone is going to come over and go, hey, this is pretty cool looking. What is this? Flip it open and go, hey, look at me. And next thing you know, someone's lost an arm or a face has been cut.
I know.
Something.
I know.
Always.
I saw a video the other day of this guy at the gym, and he was like swinging a sword on the elliptical or something like that. And I'm just like, what is he doing?
Do you think he was mentally ill?
Well, I just don't know why they were allowing it.
I'm wondering if he was like kind of off a bit, and they're just like, we need to call someone, but let's see if he'll stop with the swinging of the samurai sword.
No, I would have called the police immediately.
Maybe he was practicing for his honeymoon in Japan.
Maybe.
He was waiting for his samurai lessons that everybody was going to pay for.
Never know.
God. All of that weird stuff is terrible. If you could just keep it simple. I mean, and listen, most people do. So like the worst offense that occurs is someone's dad gets too drunk and says something inappropriate, or you know what I mean?
Those are the good memories.
That's the stuff where you can talk about it and
nobody
go, hey.
remembers the talent shows or the donut wall or...
They don't. They remember the loving part or the really bad photo that someone got and you can't live it down.
Someone's dad grabbing someone's ass or...
Right. Or, having one too many martinis or, like at Natalie's wedding, some second cousin got belligerently drunk and ran off into the golf course.
Awesome.
And, screaming. So it sounded like someone was being attacked in the dark of night. And everybody went, all the family went chasing after her because she was outraged at her husband or her boyfriend or something. Like, that's the kind of shit that goes down at weddings.
Sure.
That's what you expect.
I mean, when you get that much family around each other, there's bound to be meltdowns.
Absolutely. Someone has to do it. It might as well be the crazy second cousin, right?
Oh, God.
We've had our share.
In my opinion, having had 2 weddings now, I personally think they're overrated. I don't see the point. That's probably because I've had 2. The second one wasn't even my idea. I didn't want it.
Yeah, that's right. How did that happen? Who made you?
Victor wanted a wedding because his first marriage, because he's also been married twice.
Right.
His first marriage, they got married at a courthouse, and then they bought a Hostess cupcake at the gas station as their wedding cake. So,
wow. So he wanted a real.
He wanted to have a real wedding, and so I said, "All right, you're going to war. What can I say?
Fine. It'll be my last."
I'm like, it's whatever we can come up with in 30 days. Whatever your heart desires in 30 days, we'll do. So
I thought it was actually a very fun, really fun wedding.
We had a great time.
We did. I mean, the ceremony was good.
I loved that little chapel. I thought it was so pretty.
It was so cute, and it was perfect for the occasion. And I thought that, I think did we all not make mixed CDs for this dancing?
Yes, we made our own CDs for the music, like walking down the aisle and stuff. And then
I thought it was great.
We made our own dinner music and dancing music, and
I
everything.
remember all of that. You know what? It was super fun. I mean, that part of it, that really was, I thought, great. I mean, and remember Tyler, was it Tyler or Kenzie or someone was reaching for a bouquet or something?
I thought Tyler caught the garter.
Tyler caught the garter, but he was fighting someone for it, and the girl that was your friend at the time, he ripped her nose ring out.
Someone got punched in the eye. And maybe her nose ring did get ripped out. It was
her nose ring got ripped out, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And of course, Stephanie and I were like, "Oh, that's
fine. We're not even friends anymore." So
I know, I can't remember her name, but
so, anyways, yeah. Well, I think the good thing about my wedding is that we really were so limited on time and money.
There was no time to be a bridezilla.
We just didn't have, our options were so limited that we're just like, yeah, it'll work. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. And so when you don't have a lot of time,
there's no time to be a
money,
diva.
You can't be picky. And so I think that's the best way to go, in my opinion.
In fact, Daryl and our wedding was kind of like that. We had 3 months and we had no money. So it was basically like, what can we do? This is what we can do. Done and done. We had no opportunity to sit and go, I'm not sure. Should we go with the teal or the aqua? I'm torn.
Right.
I don't really know what to do. We literally ate at the restaurant of the hotel that we got married in, and we were like, the food's good here. Yes, this is whatever we can afford. That's what we're having.
Exactly.
That's literally how we did it.
Yeah, and we got the hors d'oeuvres package because it was the cheapest, and we didn't taste any of it.
I don't. You know what? Isn't it funny that no one really remembers the food?
No, they don't. And like when you go to weddings, it's usually the chicken or the steak or the pasta.
It's the chipper chicken.
But at the time, it just seems so important, and the cake, what cake you get seems so important.
Isn't that funny how that
when
is
everyone
when you look
just
back?
shoves it down their throat, they don't even pay attention.
I think I guess the only advice I would give is the stuff that you thought at the time, like napkins and colors of chairs and tables, is so not important. It doesn't even matter. So don't spend a lot of time on it, and don't freak out about it. It's like whatever it is, it doesn't. No one's even going to look. Like,
I remember people getting so hung up on centerpieces. Everyone was so concerned about their centerpieces. I'm like, no one is going to look at the middle of the table.
No one's going to care. They're going to say, "Oh, it's beautiful," and then that's it. I mean,
I'm like, we had floating candles, 3 floating candles and a bowl of water.
I do remember that. I will say this: I have been to some beautiful weddings where every last detail was thought of. And I do remember some of those details for sure. But what I really remember is the feeling. I remember how much I loved the couple. I remember how much I enjoyed seeing the family and the dancing and all of that stuff. That's literally all I remember about those weddings.
Yeah, I think so too. I remember who was there and what we did, and you know how much fun we had. Yeah, and it's, all the other stuff I could care less.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered, even though it's important. It to the bride, it wouldn't have mattered to me because I was just so happy to be there to celebrate it.
Right. And
that can go for even the city hall ones or the elopements. It doesn't matter.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's fine. So,
but congratulations to all of you that are getting married and planning your weddings. I hope we haven't scared you.
I'm sure we haven't. And I'm sure it will be beautiful. And if you do the donut wall, good for you.
Actually, what's really funny is they're listening going, oh, that's not me. That'll never be me.
Or they're listening to us saying, like, they don't know what they're talking about.
They have no idea.
They're jaded bitches. They don't care.
It's like they don't give a fuck about love. Napkins are important, god damn it. It's gonna make or break this thing.
And the groomsmen doing dances, everyone thinks that's cute.
It's adorable. And we'll be on YouTube and we'll be famous.
And we'll have a video of it and we'll watch it every year on our anniversary. Like we promised.
You just don't love love. That's what's wrong with you.
Yeah, because we promised we'd watch it every year on our anniversary too.
No, I would not. I absolutely would not. I have a wedding album and I'm like, all right.
Just collects dust.
No. But maybe we're not very romantic. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, we were going to make a wedding album too, and I think our pictures are still in my garage, and that's for my first wedding.
I don't even remember taking pictures at that wedding.
Actually, that was when we were my first marriage, when we were splitting up. It was like both of us were just poking at the wedding pictures with the stick.
Who's taking A's?
Basically, like I think we both kind of purposely kept leaving them. Like he kept putting them in the U-Haul truck, and I kept putting them back in the garage.
That's hilarious.
And eventually, I got stuck with them. So
last nose.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's a wrap on our weddings.
Yes, so if you are doing wedding stuff and you need to do some shopping on Amazon, please visit uglytruth.com, click on Amazon. Other wedding items that you can get are also available on lipandclip.com. There is some pretty things there to look at. You can get gifts for your bridesmaids or for yourself or for your flower girls or your mothers or whoever, your grooms, I don't know. Other than that, have a fabulous rest of your week and we will see you on Sunday.
Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.